Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I apologize before I start to the viewers out here that I've been absent for the last month. I got picked up for a violation, but my judge allowed me to come back out here. They're going to review me every month going forward to see how I'm doing, to gauge to see if they're going to send me back to prison or not. But I made a commitment to my wife and to you guys that I'm mind my P's and Q's and do what I need to do to get through this period. That being said, I always, wherever I go, I always feel like there's a reason for it. I mean, there's always something to learn, something to gain from every encounter, but it depends on you to recognize it or to take advantage of it, or, something of that nature. I was trying to remember this guy's name as I'm sharing my story, and I'm trying to keep everything in chronological order. And there was an incident that happened in Florence that would be next in line for me to share with you, but I couldn't remember the homie's name. Now, this is a white dude, white boy. He's not from SAT. They call him Aaron, and his nickname is Pac-Man. But I forgot his name. But it just so happened when I just got locked up, when I was going to court for my hearing, he was down in the holding tank with me. And I seen him coming down. I was like, man, where about, I recognize, I'm not very good with names, but I recognize faces. I'm more visual than, I'm just not very good with names. And I seen him coming down the hallway, in his shackle and belly chain. And when they put him in the tank next to me, I was like, hey, where was we at together? And we started going through all the different prisons that we've been in and stuff. And then when I got to Florence, he's like, yeah, I was at Florence. I was like, oh shit, you was the one that knocked out that dude over there in Florence. He's like, yeah. So he's the homie, meaning he's from Utah. He's out here. But he's an independent white boy, but he affiliates with, the SAC, the Soldier of Aryan Culture, that's out here out of Utah. So when he hits the line, they put him in my block. And at the time, I live in like 122 or 123, and they had the other homie, Jason Freeze, who was from SAC. He brought him down. They introduced him to me. Because, we're far away from home, right? We don't have any federal prisons out here in Utah. So we're always in somebody else's backyard. So it's always cool, to run into homies that are out from this way. We can catch up, on the latest news, what's going on in the valley, what's going on out here in the lake, all the different stuff that's been going on. And anybody that's ever been locked up, it's a different feeling just to be able to sit down and reminisce with somebody about, on a time you was out on the street and you're able to identify the neighborhood and the streets and, whatever club, whatever restaurant, all that stuff. Because, being away from home for, at this time has already been like 19, 20 years already. And you get homesick. I think everybody does. I don't think anybody that's ever been in prison that's just, oh, I forgot about the street. This is my life here. And it's a complete transition, because you're always going to miss home. You're always going to miss what's going on with your family out here, with your peoples out here, or just events and stuff in the city, how it's progressed and how it's evolved. So when he comes into the on the yard, he gets put in my block. And like I said, Freeze come and introduce him to me. And the homie tattoos, and he's pretty good. So that's his hustle. So he ended up tattooing my neighbor, Dez. And when he was finished tattooing him, there was other white dude over there, His name is Dave. I think he's from a skinhead gang called BBS. I could be wrong, but this dude Dave, he's in there. You know, when you go into their room, Dave and LB's from California. And I'm going to assume that Dave is from California too. But they're all skinheads. They're white supremacists. They're in that, you know, separatist shit. No, to each his own. I don't got no issues with anybody being whatever they are, as long as that our interaction is respectful. And me and Dave, we had a cool relationship. You know, I've always been on restriction for most of my bid, because I'm always into something. So for me to shop commissary, I would have to have my people send money on somebody else's account and then pay them to shop. So for me to shop $100 off of somebody's account, you know, over there, you get to spend $360 every month. But they've broken it down to where you can only go $180 every 2 weeks, which is still $360 every month, but they're not just letting you buy everything all at one time. So they broke down the shopping to $180 every 2 weeks. Now you can go, but you go to the store every week. But for that first 2 weeks, you can spend up to $180. You can go to $100 this week and spend $80 next week, or you can shop the whole $180. So for me to shop $100 off somebody's account, I gotta send them $125. They get $25 and then they buy me, you know, $100 worth of commissary. Well, each book of stamps over there is worth $5. But if you have somebody that's cool with, they'll sell you 25 books for $100 instead of 20 books. So when I got on the yard in Florence, you know, the white boys that was on the yard over there, they embraced me because of what happened in that water. You know, I've shared the story about me and the homie Bryson jumping in the riot, helping the white boys on the yard against the Mexicans. So when I got there, there was already a handful of white dudes that was in that water with me. So when I got there, they blessed me, you know what I mean? They looked out for me, whatever, and we was cool. And when I came back out of the shoe, you know, when I first got to Florence, I got jumped. Because, you know, half the homies over there at the time when I hit Florence was foul. And I ended up cleaning up the yard, but not in the way that I intended to. You know, I didn't get a chance to make my move. They made the move on me first. And I ended up staying in the shoe for about 6 months, almost 7 months. So when I come back out, you know, in Florence, the yard is split. Everybody at the time, you only wreck with your block. So I live in DA, so I would wreck with DA and DB. But DB is a psych ward, and those guys never get to come out. And the other two units are CA and CB, EA and EB. So when they go to rec, CA and CB get to rec together. So at least they get a chance to mingle with other people that ain't on that's not just in their block. I mean, we all go out to the yard together, but we're all in different rec cages. You know, the yard is split 3 yards. So you got yard 1, yard 2, yard 3. C block might go to yard 3. D block might go to yard 2. E block might go to yard 1. And you talk to each other through the fence. You know, so being in DA, when we go out to the yard, it's just still our block. I mean, we're able to, you know, holler at dudes through the fence and all that stuff, but we're just really playing the block, right? So, you know, me and Dave, like I said, when we come in, like the only time you can be out in the yard all the time, you got a job. Like, you know, one of the prized jobs were the compound jobs, where you just go out there, carry yourself a rake and a broom or whatever, and you can walk up and down the yard and, you know, run errands and hustle, whatever, all day long. I didn't have a job when I first got there, and the job that I wanted was in the rec department. So that way I can stay out there, and then when the other blocks come out for rec, I can mingle and holler at whoever in those other blocks. But you know, in a penitentiary, when you want to get a job, you can put in a cop-out and give it and submit it to the CO that's in charge of hiring people and hope they give you a job. But most people get jobs by knowing somebody that's already working in that department, and that inmate, that convict, you know, probably got a rapport with the boss because they've been working there for however long, and they be like, hey, man, my homie's trying to get a job, and you're able to get a job quicker. So when I told them dudes, the white boys, Dave and LB, they worked at Rec. I'm like, hey, man, I'm trying to get a job up here. And they're like, shit, we'll fuck with you. We'll help you. We'll get you a job. You know, before I went through them, I was trying to get a job just, you know, on my own. You know what I mean? Putting a submit a cop out or whatever. But weeks went by and then I never got a reply back. And then Dave and LB that lived in my block, you know, they're skinheads. But LB was with me in Atwater. And he already hit the white boys in the block who I was and what I did and what I've done and all that stuff. So, like, I had a pretty good rapport with the white boys over there. So Dave and LB was like, man, shit, we can get you a job at Rec. So they got me a job at Rec. I go there, rake the freaking dirt for like 5-10 minutes. And then after that, you know, I do what I want to do. Also, Dave ran a store. And he always see me shopping, you know, because I don't have a commissary. So I just go to the store man that's in the block and they sell shit to you for a time and a half. So if something costs $1 in commissary, if you buy it in the unit from the unit store man, it's gonna cost you $1.50. You know, it's on credit or it's on stamp. I usually just run up a credit line, and then when I get to whatever, you know, $100, $150, whatever, I just sent them the money to clear out. But Dave, you know, he always see me shopping, you know, that these different store mans in the block. He's like, man, what are you paying down there? And I tell him, yeah, I'm just paying a time and a half. I just sent them money, this and that. He's like, shit, if you got 25 books, I'll give you $100, you know, worth a store out of my store. I'm like, huh? I'm like, you sure? He's like, yeah. So if I wanted, like I said, if I wanted to buy $100 worth of commissary, I got to send somebody 125 books, I mean $125 anyway, you know? But if I'm buying stamps, I can get 25 books for the $100. So now instead of going to these other store man and just running up a bill and then sending them $100, you know, at the end of the week for only like, whatever, $65 worth of grocery, I just send somebody else $100, get 25 books, go up to Dave and them and get a whole $100 worth of commissary back. So that's what, every week when he come back from the store, you know, he's got people that owe him money. He's been hustling, they hustle and all that stuff. When they come back, you know, with their commissary sack, I'm up in there with my bag, shopping. I got the books, boop. I'm doing what I'm doing, getting the food and stuff that I need. So I had a really good rapport with him. And at the time, Dave had the block for the white boys. Dave ain't a big dude. He's like my size. But he's in there for a body. I think his case was he hit some Jewish dude upside the head with a rock or something and murked him. So, like I said, I don't know any details about his case, but that's just, you know, whatever it is, you know, the word that was in the block. But he's a skinhead. He's on the white power, white supremacist time. I've never had any problems with my interaction with him. But when the homie come in, Aaron, he tattoos. And like I said, he was tattooing the native homie, Dez. When he was done, I guess Dave approached him and was like, hey man, I don't want to see you tattooing on other races. You know what I mean? We don't do that over here. Aaron ain't no punk. You know, this dude, he get it in. He get it in everywhere he go. He's on man time. He ain't gonna let nobody dictate how he do his time. But also, a lot of white boys that come out of Utah, you know, they function with us. They function with the Polynesians. They function with the Asians and other group. I mean, Sac you know, they got the swastika, they got the lightning bolts and stuff. But every yard I've been in that has SAC members on, like I function with them. We kick it, you know, we chop it up. And some of them, and I'm cool with some of them. I don't know a whole lot of them, but you know, the ones that I do know, you know, we cool. So Aaron ain't the type of dude to let somebody else tell him how to dictate his time. You know what I mean? So I guess like 2 days later, Dez back in the shop, back in Aaron's room, and Aaron's tattooing on him. And the homie Freeze got the door. You know, he's watching the door so nobody runs in on him. Also to keep point so that the cops don't run in on him. So I guess, I don't know all this at the time, but talking to the homie when I was going to court just a couple weeks ago, he ran down all the details about it. I mean, at the end of the day, like they came down and told me what was going to happen, but I didn't know what led up to it. So he said he was on there tattooing Dez, and he could see Dave coming by, looking in the window. But you know, Freeze got the door. Freeze not going to let nobody go in that door. So, you know, Aaron's in there tattooing the native dude. So whenever he finishes, Dave comes in there, knocks on the door and says, "Hey man, can I holler at you?" And he's like, "Yeah, come on in, come on." So Dave comes in there and he tells Aaron, he goes, "You don't think I'm serious, huh? You don't take me serious?" He said, "Oh, look, I'm going to tell you, the next time I catch you tattooing another race, me and you're going to catch a sale and you're not going to come out." Aaron's bigger than Dave. And Aaron, he's with the bullshit. You know what I mean? He go. And he's like, but at the same time, there's a lot of politics in the penitentiary. You know, if you're going to crash with another, especially if you're going to crash with another car, even though they're all white, they're all separated in different cars, different groups, different gangs, different states, you know. So he just got there. He only been there like a week, if that, 2 weeks. And he's this dude that runs the block telling him, "Hey, next time I catch you tattooing another race, me and you going to catch a sale and you're not going to come out of there." You know, dude's threatening his life. But at the same time, he doesn't just want to jump the gun because of all the politics. So when Dave leaves the room, he tells Freeze what just happened. And he's like, "Man, what do you think I should do?" For us convicts, you know, if you live in that life, there ain't nothing but one thing you can do. Especially if you still got time to do, especially if you want to do your time the way you want to do it. You know? So I'm downstairs in my cell, kicking. I got my door open. I always keep my door open. I got a string that I string across the door from the coat hanger that I put a sheet up where I can just slide my sheet. But I just chill back there, you know, smoke my little Tucci or whatever, watch the TV, and I just kick back. And so while I'm in my cell, Dave and Aaron comes down to my cell and they run down like what just happened. So I'm like, "Oh yeah," and they, you know, and they ask me like, you know, what should he do? Now, they're not asking for my advice or anything like that. It's just, I think the question was like rhetorical. I think that's the term for it. You know, just like, you know, if somebody threatened your life, what would you do? I didn't have to answer it. We already know what the answer is. So they're like, "Well, I'm going to punish this dude. So I'm just going to give you a heads up." Because, you know, we're from Utah. Every yard we go to, we're going to be outnumbered by other people from other states, especially those that are from California or from Texas. Now, he's white. I'm Asian. He's not asking me to ride with him. I'm not volunteering that I'm going to ride with him. This is in-house stuff. But he's, out of respect, he's just giving me a heads up. And I make the decision that I make according to whatever, it's gonna transpire, you know. But at this time, he's got his own homeboy. He's got Freeze. He's got a couple other homies that are from Utah. Plus, there's the other few sacks that's on the compound. So they, you know, so they're gonna work everything out themselves. And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna punish this dude." I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna get front row seat." Cause you know, when you come in our block, when you come in the DA, when you come in the door, there's a set of stairs, and the cell starts at 101 and goes around, goes to the corner, then it bends, and I'm on the side that bends. It goes all the way to like 111 across, then from 111 all the way to 132. You know, the unit is shaped in like a diamond, a triangle. And when you come in front of the cells in the first row, about 104, between 104 and 107, there's tables. There's 4 tables on this side and 4 tables on this side. The native table is all the way at the end. And the white table is in the front, right under the stairs, right when you come in the door. But Aaron had already hipped his, you know, they went out to the compound, holler at the other SAC homies or whatever other homies just to stand post, because he's about to hit a dude from California. A dude that, by all accounts, has some respect and got homies on the compound. So when you hit somebody like this, there's a potential that the whole yard can blow up. I mean, not the whole yard as far as other races, but, you know, amongst their own, amongst the whites. So on the time when he's supposed to hit the dude, you know, a couple SAC dudes come in the block. I got my chair in front of my cell. I got front row seat. I'm waiting for the show. And there's a, you know, I know everybody's in the block. I know all the, it's mandatory. If you're an active person while you're in the penitentiary, it's mandatory that you know who everybody is and who they're affiliated with. Because when you go hit somebody and he's got homies, you already know that you got to hit his homies too. Because they're not going to allow you to watch, they're not going to sit there and watch you punish one of their homies, but you want to make sure that you punish the right people and know who you got to watch your back from. So, you know, everybody's posted up. Now, it happens every single time. The victim don't know what's going on, but everybody else in the block know this fool's about to get punished, except for him, right? So the natives, the blacks, everybody, you know, they're going around getting their stuff together, getting their showers in, just in case we get on a lockdown. And I'm right there in front of my cell with the chair, watching, waiting. So I see Dave and the 3 other white boys, they're finna play pinochle. So they come down, you know, Dave lived in like 202. He comes down the stairs. I don't know where his celly LB's at the time, but they come downstairs, they're getting ready, you know, they put the little blanket on the table, they grab their chair, they're counting out the cards or whatever, they're getting ready to play, you know, a game of pinochle. The cards get dealt out, right? And Dave is where he's sitting at, he's facing me. So his back is to the cell. His back is to the stairs. Aaron lived in about 209 or 208 upstairs too. So Dave's down there at the table. They dealt out the cards. He got all his cards in his hand like this, you know, putting, you know, if you know how to play pinochle, you put everything by the suits and, you know, from ace down to 10 and all that. So he's over there messing with his cards, holding it up like this. And I can see Aaron coming down from the stairs. And he comes out of his cell, and he's walking down the stairs. Freeze is posted up about 10 feet behind Dave by the pole. And there's a couple other SAC dudes under the stairs. Now, it always baffled me that people underestimate other men. You know, you just went into a room and threatened someone's life. You just told them, hey, if you do this, do that, you're going to catch a cell and you're not going to come out of it. You just told this dude that if he if he does something else that you don't like, that you're gonna, you know, excuse my language, but undead him. I mean, unalive him. I'm trying to keep to the YouTube whatever guidelines, because I've been shadow banned. Like when my wife types in a prison story, my channel doesn't come up, and I think it's because of the content that I'm putting out. So to try to go commercial a little bit, try to get more exposure, I'm just gonna watch my language and other words that I use, so I don't, you know, so maybe they'll take the shadow ban off. Right? So much for freedom of speech, right? But anyway, so Dave's sitting there holding the card. These guys facing the car. He into it. And I see Aaron walking down the stairs. Now, before this happened, Aaron was going to butcher him. You know, Aaron was asking Freeze, like, man, what's up, man? Should I just murk this dude? You know, he wanted to go get a piece, you know. But he only had like a few years left. And Freeze gave him some sound advice, like, nah, man, don't mess up your time over this lame, but just go over there and punish him. We ain't gotta murk him, just punish him, you know. But you know, Freeze and a couple other Sacs and a couple other homies from Utah, they posted up just in case the California whites jump. So Aaron comes down the stairs, and Dave is sitting there holding his cards like this, and Aaron just winds up, pop, hits him beside right here. Like it was, I mean, like Aaron got some size to him, and it was just solid. Boom. Dave fell off his chair, stiff, still holding his cards, right? And Aaron just got on top of him and just started punishing. Bing, 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 bing. And I guess LB was up in the room in the bed. Like, dude, you a gang member, you a skinhead, you're a white supremacist, whatever. You ain't never, ever supposed to be in the bed during the time when the doors are open. So I guess he hears the commotion. You know, they live in 202, so it's just a step and a hop to get down the stairs. He runs up and down, he comes down the stairs, you know, beaming right for Aaron. And when he goes to go kick Aaron, you know, Aaron's already on top of dude, already piecing him up a few times already. Dude's knocked out. Dude's just a victim. He ain't, you know what I mean? He ain't been, like, he's unconscious. So he's just a body. I guess LB came running down and tried to kick Aaron, but at the same time, the CO was already over there, and they turned around and just sprayed him. You know, they got the little canister that's like the size of a water bottle and just, you know, right on dude's face, right on LB's face. And like I said, I fuck with LB and Dave. I ain't got no issues with them. And their politics is their politics. But for me, it's just like, we're all in the penitentiary. Don't matter who you are, what or what you think you are. You're dealing with other men. Yeah, there's plenty of do-boys in there that's going to allow you to dictate their time, that are cowards or weenies or whatever. But everybody ain't like that. You know what I mean? For me, you know, I got to a point in my life where I realized that we all bleed. What you can do to me, I can do to you. So what do I need to fear you for? I can respect you. I have love for you. And if you have some advice that is decent, that is good, that is better than things that I'm doing, out of respect, just for the simple fact that I don't want to be a dummy, don't want to stay a dummy. So if you got something that enlightened me on a subject, I'm going to respect that. I'm going to give my respect to my elders. I'm going to respect to the people before me. But I've never allowed nobody else to dictate how I've done my time. 4 years in a penitentiary, I've never allowed anybody to dictate how I did my time. And the one person that tried to do that jumped out there and tried to tell me that he ran the yard, that his homies ran the yard. I put him in the ICU for half a week, you know? And that's not telling you that I'm tough or anything like that. It's just not everything that I ever done in the penitentiary was necessary for my survival. Because if I allow somebody else to dictate my time, then everybody else is going to dictate my time. If I allow somebody to take something from me, then people's going to get in line to see what else they can take from me. So for just self-preservation, I had to do some of the things that I might not otherwise want to do or like doing. I don't like to get into stuff, but I'm not running away from it. Ain't never ran away from it. Ain't never ducked nothing, you know. But yeah, but like for me, it's just hard to understand that how you can threaten another man's life and just go sit there and play cards and thinking this dude's a lame, you know. And went down there and punished him. And at the end of the day, when they were all in the shoe, when they were in the Rick case together, Aaron was telling me while we was in court this last time, he's like, yeah, you know, Dave apologized to him because you don't do that. If you feel somebody violated a law, violated a rule that you try to enforce, you don't threaten them and walk away. Whatever punishment that you're going to hand out, you need to just do it. Because all you're doing when you threaten somebody is giving them a heads up and an opportunity to arm up and come and get you. I don't understand how that's hard to comprehend, you know. But much love and respect to Eric, man. Hit me up, and I hope in the future that I'll be able to sit down with him and interview with him, and he could tell you some of all the crazy shit he's been through since he's left Atwater, since he's left Florence. I mean, welcome to the USP.